Hey, my name is Justin Cobb, and I'm here to tell you why Star Alliance is the future. Star Alliance definitely should be increased in size and power. Why? Because two heads are always better than one. You get a lot better collective bargaining. You also have strength in numbers. We'll go over an animal example in a little bit. And my recommendations are going to be to either merge or die. You're going to have coordinated efforts from everyone. You're going to have to think outside the box. And at the end of the day, business is business. And there is going to be some need for government interventions. You're going to have to relax some restrictions, maybe allow some interesting equity stakes, which we'll get into that in a minute. So let's first look at the Star Alliance, why two heads are better than one. You're going to need to combine constellations to survive. You got to form a temporary universal constellation in order to allow sharing of routes. So you have this super alliance that allows the different routes. So one alliance does not control one specific route. Um, I think a good idea would be to offer free cross training for these employees across different alliances. It may be unpaid, but as lots of employees are laid off or furloughed, I think it will give them an interesting opportunity to develop skills and have a better future in the industry. And you might also want to ask employees to take a temporary pay cut as they can realize the importance of having this super alliance, which is similar to a union. And we're going to look at strength in numbers as a good example is if you look at bison on the North American plains, if they're being attacked by wolves or mountain lions, they form a circle around the weak, the strong form a circle. And it gives them power, their strength in numbers. And if we're going to look at this as for Star Alliance, you're going to have branding, better branding that suggests increased travel is going to save jobs and increase flight offerings. So we can look at also having this branding include gold status with a quick purchase for all members who are purchasing a flight, which would allow people to maybe experience amenities that they have never experienced before. And of course, you're going to have gold members to get even a more elite experience with increased benefits. And I think it's going to have to be a future dated benefit and to be determined later. And with these large alliances, you're going to have collective bargaining. It's going to be similar to a union. More power than just one airline by itself. And the employees also get added benefits. And I believe one issue that they have is cost, which is seems to be that and labor, which are the main costs to an airline. I think by adding Middle Eastern airlines into the alliance and having relaxed and better deals for them, maybe better routes, maybe access to certain amenities that they may not normally get, in exchange, we will have regulated fuel prices. So you won't have to have the fluctuation in fuel prices. Also, I think there's an opportunity to allow for governments to purchase a stake in airlines. So they will be invested and they will be able to provide funding, which will be necessary for these entities to survive. And then also to have the alliances to have the opportunity to repurchase those shares back from the government. Also, it could open up government lines of credit, which would be a good way to um, allow for a quick influx of cash. Now let's look at its business at the end of the day. You want to cut low load factor flights temporarily. You got to survive. Only flights with high passenger yield. And let's be honest with customers about cutbacks. They just have to know you can't survive. And they'll survive if they know you can't survive, even if they're not as happy about it as you would hope they are. Let's remind the customers of benefits they get. They do have airline miles. Let's tell them you get your airline miles. Keep them. We want you to come travel with us. Do not forget them. You get to fly cheap for free. You get to use these airline miles. So let's remind them at the end of the day. Also, we want to only use these flights that are profitable, and small airlines must allow temporary option to be acquired, at least just during the pandemic until they can get back to profitability, and allow these small airlines, of course, to buy shares back. And need to have coordinated flights to share high passenger yield, at least to pay the bills, just survive, keep as many employees as possible, run these flights to and from. We're going to allow profit sharing in airlines. We're going to think outside the box. We're going to, just like my friend who owned a pizza restaurant, he changed his business model to survive. You're going to partner with local businesses, coordinate a temporary travel site accommodation to decrease advertising, have mileage programs. You're going to offer possibly 3 weeks on, 1 week off for employees, at least have some income. Long term, let's look at getting children interested, have programs, have um, things that children can do. Outside the box, we're going to look at allow rental of flights for our kids for maybe birthday parties. I know that's far fetched. Let's go ahead and double mileage programs, increase advertising for all of our customers. We're going to have a temporarily allow for an overlap of routes, but have a route sharing for these overlaps. The alliance could get control of these defunct companies that can't run these routes, but let's have a schedule, let's share it, let's everyone survive this. And lastly, I think really outside the box, there's an opportunity for giant aircraft carriers. I mean, 20 football fields. We could create them huge. Um, this could create jobs on a large scale. Also, we want to look at having more of the children's programs, which we talked about. So, in the long term, I think alliances are the way to go.